Hey everybody, Mark Herman, LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I'm joined here with Jake Circus of the Jake Circus podcast, and this is the week 2 Jungle Talk preview. Yeah, hooday! So do a little enthusiasm. Come on, help me out here. I'm always like I'm the
We're
one.
0-1, Mark. We're 0-1. What's there to be
Well,
enthusiastic about?
but
We're 0-1.
we're about to be 1-1 if you're going to look at the glass half full. So I only do that the whole thing because it sounds better on the podcast. We put it up on Spotify for the 50 or so people that listen in their car. Most of the people see us on YouTube. So before I forget, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. Hit the subscription button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you get the notifications. We do these previews, we do recaps right afterwards, and hit the thumbs up on YouTube so helps us out in the analytics. And Jake, I'm not going to forget either. Tell them where they can find all your stuff because you do some great podcasts.
Jake Circus podcast, Spotify and YouTube. Gambling show coming out tomorrow. We do NFL shows Monday mornings, drive shows on Monday, college football Wednesdays, gambling shows Fridays. So 3 pods a week. Yeah, good stuff. Happy to be back as always. And yes, 1-1 this week. Great spot for Cincinnati.
This week. Now, you picked us losing in week 1, and I appreciate you being. We always want honesty. This isn't a homer show. We're not paid by the Bengals. It's by fans for fans, and you felt like we didn't match up well, and this was a week that we wouldn't win, and you were unfortunately right. They never got off the bus really. And a whole combination of I don't think Burrow ever could grip the ball. I don't think he ever felt comfortable gripping the ball. So the weather was an issue. And I don't think he was tentative in terms of stepping up and running. So it was just, and then why do we shoot our mouths off and rile them up? I mean, Myles Garrett talking to him, the Chase comments really, it just got him even more awake for the game, which I'm always keep your mouth shut. You're talking on the field. So,
yes.
Make the elf comment and you wind up eating crow at the end of the game with reporters. I mean, I just
it was very clear that Burrow was still tending to that calf. That's why he wasn't really running. He was probably a little cautious because the field was really, really wet. And that field is kind of shitty to begin with. So like even if he was healthy, he wouldn't be wanting to run a whole lot. But now that you add that he's hurt and he's kind of like, well, why? Like, I don't want to do this. So that sucked. And it was a bad matchup. The pass rush got there like every single time.
Well,
pass rush win rate, we were 21st out of 32. So like on the broadcast, it was two-way street. You might say, well, like Orlando Brown looked good, but I feel like Joe didn't get really many throw offs. And then when he did get throws off, he was making horrible decisions down the field. And nothing was really ever set in stone and set up to be successful. Bengals averaged less than 3 yards of play for like the first time ever in the Burrow era, at least the last 2 years. Yes, right. Worst Joe Burrow game of his career, at least since post ACL. But we got to bounce back.
Yeah, you know what? I just I don't think he ever felt comfortable, and I don't think he could grip the ball because he didn't look confident throwing the ball. They fluttered. They were high. They were low. I just think he had issues because he doesn't wear a glove, and he was trying a glove, so that tells you that he was struggling with his grip. And I'm always one of those, go and practice, get the gloves where you stick them in the bucket and you get them nice and wet in cold water. And then you have to put it on and throw footballs and, figure out a way to get ready. He said himself, we have to be better. We have to know how to play in these elements. And they didn't. So, just one of those things. We move on to the next game. I'm not hitting panic mode. But it wasn't. Once again, yet another birthday of mine comes and goes, and
fuck, I forgot about that.
Yeah, nice. and here it was. It was like, and it was my 60th. It was a big one, and we lose to the Browns. They're a bad matchup for us. Anyway, you cut it because they have a good pass rush and they have good corners, and that's always going to be a bad matchup for us. So, so let's see. So. We'll hit a little bit of news and then we'll do what we usually do, which is talk about the things we're not feeling good about, things we're feeling good about, and then we'll make our predictions. The big news of the week was we let Collins go. We released him. I actually felt comfortable with him being on our team as for depth purposes. I know I wasn't ready to play now, but I really wanted to keep him on for depth. I feel like we lost a lot of our veteran depth by not, maybe we re-sign him. I don't know. Were they just trying to get out of that contract?
Well, he's got some teams interested in him. That was a report that came out from Jordan Schultz today. But more than anything, so they save the prorated portion of his base salary against this season's cap, which is $4.25 million. The other 3 million plus will be credited back to their 2024 cap. So they get cap relief both years, 2023 and 2024. It was probably just a situation where he wasn't going to be ready, and maybe he doesn't get on the field for his new team until week 8, week 9. They want to call someone up, and they probably are going to. Look, this was like a big time signing for the Bengals. This was like the continuous road of their new era with the Blackburns and Burrow, and Collins was supposed to be his protector, and he didn't really play well last year, and then he got hurt. And I think that some of the playoff games might have been differently if actually Collins was out there, even though he didn't have a good year. So that kind of sucked. But coming off a bad injury, it seems like a normal Bengals move to just part the ways with him. And, at this point, but it was a little weird that it came after week 1. Like, I don't know if they saw something in the practice of last week with their second and third string swing tackles to tell themselves, oh, we can let Collins go now. We don't need him anymore. I don't think that was the situation. I think the timing was just maybe a coincidence, and it was just time to let him go.
Well, if he doesn't land anywhere and he's ready week 8, week 9, maybe we bring him back on a different deal. And because, like I said, I felt better with him being there just for depth purposes. You had a veteran that we know can play better than he did last year, but he was hurt. I just felt like I felt better with him on the roster. So, maybe that was an artificial sense of security. I don't know, but I wasn't overjoyed when I saw the news. And then Joe got a haircut. That was the big news of the week. I don't know what that does, but they made
Joe did get a haircut. It inspired me to grow out the stash. So there you go.
How did his haircut inspire you for the stash?
Because I didn't want to get a haircut. So I felt like I had to do something new. So I did something new to shake off the loss. Burrow did something new to shake off the loss. He's going to go throw for 4 touchdowns. I'm going to win a unit on Bengals -3, and we're all going to be happy.
There you go. All right. Love it. So, we're getting a feel for where your prediction is. So, let's jump into the things we're not feeling good about. The first thing for me is this offensive line. I mean, they haven't gelled. They still have to work together. This is another formidable defensive line and an aggressive defense. So I want to see a step up from what we saw last week in terms of protection, because Burrow basically was under siege the whole game. So
I thought that a lot of it was on Burrow, to be honest. He wasn't making his reads well. In the quick game made, a lot of those pressures were probably ending up on Burrow. I thought Orlando Brown probably looked the best of the bunch of all the offensive linemen. He graded out fairly well, I think, in PFF. Let me find it. Where is it? But yeah, like watching Brown play, yeah, he was our highest graded offensive lineman, 65, 60 run pass block grade, no sacks allowed, 3 pressures. So he was pretty solid. That's fine. Right. And going up against Myles Garrett is always a tough matchup. So yeah, but adding on to that, I would still say rust and the fact that the Bengals have to come out the first 2 weeks and play 2 division games, going on the road to Cleveland and then playing Baltimore the next week at home in the home opener. Not an ideal start. We said it in May, we said it in August, and we're saying it again during the season.
Right.
It's not an ideal start. Like, we've seen the Bengals start slow, the last couple of years, and they come out of the gates with not what turns now into a must-win game. Like, I hate saying that in week 2. They were 0-2 last year. 0-1 in the division, but you can't rely on winning 11 straight games in season, right? Like, you can't say, oh, they're gonna rack off a 10-11 double-digit game winning streak. Probably not. Like, if they do, great. Like, I don't have them losing again. Like, I'm 1-0, so like I took Cleveland. I don't have them losing again until when they go to Baltimore Thursday night, week 11. So I think they do rack off a pretty sizable winning streak, shake off the rust. It starts this week, but that's probably the biggest thing I'm concerned about. I think this is a much better matchup for us. But the rust factor probably will still be in effect, but this is a much different Ravens team than teams that we've seen. I think they're down this year, and the Bengals can go up.
Well,
they did not look good against Houston. Don't let the 24-9 final swing you away. They played a rookie quarterback and a rookie coach, and that Houston defense, filled with those high floor players that I've been talking about on the pod, the free agents that they brought in for D'Amico Ryans, they were making some plays. They forced Lamar into 2 turnovers. Should have been a third. Took a horrible fumble that somehow bounced right into his hands, right back to him in the second half. That Houston team was getting off the field, and they were tired, and they were getting off the field.
Right.
So
yeah, I had that in my feeling good about. I have Lamar stats, so we'll get into those. The 4 sacks, 1 interception, and 2 fumbles. 1 he recovered himself, but still let go of the ball. So, no, it was a very underwhelming performance considering who their opponent was. And the other thing I have in terms of our special teams, mainly our punting.
It was wet. It was wet.
All right,
rookie.
The other punt, the Cleveland punter didn't have any issues, but our guys all seem to be like, they look like a hot weather team that wasn't used to ever playing in the rain. We played in the elements before. Why was this new? But they really, I don't know. It was, like I said, it was the perfect storm. The other way. I mean, in terms of rust, no gel with the line, Burrow hurt. It was frustrating to watch that game. It really was. So I'm just hoping we could kick off the rust. That's we got to do it. And I don't want to test we've been 0-2 before, made the postseason, like you said. That was,
no, you don't want to do that.
You don't want to make this a ritual where you just kind of start 0-2. I know some guys mentally, I don't know if you play golf, the second guy, when you hit a first one OB and you call the second a provisional, and and the second ball is always perfect. And you say, why can't I get that second swing up first? So sometimes
your brother is always better than you. That's the phrase. That's what that
goes.
Yeah,
no, it
your
is.
Brother's always
second guy up, always first team All-American. If I can just get him up first, that's perfect. Well, we got to just start doing it. I'm just, like I said, we can't keep going into these 0-2 holes. We got to stop Lamar better than we did Deshaun Watson. We lost contain on Deshaun on a few plays, and we've got to keep him in. Hubbard got pushed out where that led to 1 run. There was the horrible 2-minute defense before half where we could have been down 6-3 instead of 10. And like I said, we just need to have better run defense. Our run defense in general wasn't that great. We didn't stop the run that much. I attribute some of it to the rain, but I want to see better containment on Lamar than we had on Deshaun. And it's more about situational containment, where on 3rd down, it's one thing to give up a 1st down or a 2nd down scramble, but when you're 3rd down and you have a chance to get off the field, don't give up the 1st down to Lamar. Just don't.
Yeah, I'll definitely attribute some of that to the rain, but the other, maybe not an excuse, but just a logical explanation is those boys were tired. They wanted to get to halftime, and the Bengals offense we're not doing them any favors.
No.
Like, I don't know if you saw, but Trent Williams, the Niners left tackle, stud player, one of the best ever, was talking in an interview during this week of practice, and he's like, I really wish our defense would have given up some 1st downs so we wouldn't have to keep going back on the field. We're getting tired out there. And they didn't. The Niners obviously boat raced Pittsburgh, and it was the opposite. It was the same thing with the Bengals defense. They were tired, and that's a tough spot. 2-minute drill with the Browns going hurry up, and they were throwing everything out there. Watson makes a couple of nice balls, takes off for some nice runs, but those guys were tired, and you can't really make subs in the 2-minute drill. So that's another part of it. I don't think the Bengals had any timeouts, so they were tired. And
we have AJ Green as the king of the jungle, so he'll hopefully we'll rally around that. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about in terms of not feeling good about? I think I pretty much covered it. We're trying to close.
Spot.
What's that?
It's a great spot. It's a great spot for us.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, the things I'm feeling good about, we got a wake up call. Wake up call. If that didn't wake you up last week and having to do the presser, and this is all days after Burrow gets paid, and then he goes out and has the worst game of his career. So that has to be weighing on him. So I'm hoping, week 2 we get the a little more gelling of the offensive line, because it's going to be a work in progress. The Ravens were decimated by injury. We can go through the injury report. We don't have
It's
anything
bad.
too
It's
significant.
really bad.
Oh, I know. And
Like,
didn't they check me on this one? Didn't they completely redo their strength and conditioning department like 2 years ago because they attributed a lot of their injuries to their strength? So they like cleared house and rehired all these new people. And here we are. J.K. Dobbins is lost. That may be just specific to him because he has problems getting off the field. But I mean, they literally lost Marlon Humphrey, Tyler Lindenbaum, Ronnie Stanley. I mean, it's that it helps us out. I mean, we got 2 offensive linemen that won't be there this week.
not just that. So Mark Andrews was limited Wednesday and Thursday, but it's Mark Andrews, so he'll probably play.
Right.
But
Yeah. And this will
he
be
won't be
his debut
100%.
because he did not play last week.
Yeah, so he probably won't be 100%. But Humphrey, Linderbaum, Stanley, Marcus Williams, that's 4 of their 8 best players.
Yeah.
That's being generous because Humphrey, outside of Lamar's, Stanley's for sure their second best player outside of Lamar. I would put Humphrey third. Mark Andrews is probably fourth, who's not going to be 100%. Linderbaum is their second best lineman, so their 2 best linemen are not going to play. Humphrey, Linderbaum, Stanley, Marcus Williams, who's the second best defensive back outside of Marlon Humphrey, who's not playing.
Right.
None of these guys have practiced even in a limited fashion all week.
Right. Yeah. No, they didn't practice on Wednesday or Thursday. They're out this week. I mean, there's no
and JK. I mean, every year this guy gets hurt, and he's done after week 1.
Yeah, I felt bad for the guy. It's like Aaron Rodgers. I felt bad for Rodgers. You can dislike Aaron Rodgers or like Aaron Rodgers, but the guy had a new city. He was primed for this debut, and to go down the 4th plane of the game for the season, I just felt bad for him. J.K. Dobbins, another one that just seems to be an ongoing thing. There he is. Another out for the year. So, your most important ability is availability, but that's something. I mean, I'm not wishing for this, but on the part of makes me feel good. This is something going in there. We know they're going to have backups on the O line. So I mean, that can't help us out. Our defense played well last week. The only reason we were actually in the game through 3 quarters was because of our defense. So
yep. And I'll go one further. Our injury report looks, considering the circumstances, as good as it could be. Cam Sample practice was limited today. Chris Evans probably not going to play.
Right.
Osai's probably still a week away.
But he's back on the field, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure. Logan was a full today. So
Burrow was a full. Dak. Burrow's listed, and he's a full, and Dax was a full. So, and what's Marcus Bailey? How bad was that? I didn't even hear he was hurt at all. He was limited.
Yeah, he was limited today, so that just popped up. He wasn't even on the report yesterday, so maybe he tweaked something yesterday. Limited today. We'll probably find out more Friday or Saturday, but I would expect him to go unless it's something serious.
Right, but certainly better than what the Ravens are looking at. So,
yeah.
And then my last one here is Lamar being loose with the ball. We started talking about this. So, I mean, even though they did win the game and the score looks convincing, this was a 7-6 game at halftime, if I recall.
10-9.
10-9. I knew it was a 1-point game. I rushed to get a second half bet down and missed it. The game started before I could hit my bet. And I was like, oh, that was like the easiest bet in the world, money lining the Ravens second half. But I didn't get it down. And obviously, but still, he had 4 sacks, 1 interception, 2 fumbles. And that's Houston. I think we're better defense than Houston. So, I look for us, if we can get some pressure on, maybe we can force some early gifts from Lamar here, and
I agree.
Yeah, open this game up. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. So you have anything to add on feeling good about list?
I mean, I just recorded my gambling pod. This is one of my favorite bets. I normally don't bet on Bengals games. Will never bet against them, but here I'm taking them. I love the -3, 3.5 most places. I like it too. This is the spot of all spots. We talk all the time about week 2 overreactions. This is a perfect one.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is, and just before we give our predictions, we go on on a little gambling tangent here, because you and I are both gamblers. I'm a money line and teaser guy. You like to bet things straight. I like to tweak the numbers a little bit. Think about this. I mean, you can have the Bengals plus like 4 on a teaser. Okay. And this is a palatable money line. Parlay this money line with a couple others. But week 1, you pick teams that you're going to bet against. You bet against Houston. You bet against Carolina, right? You bet against the teams that I money lined. Thank God I money lined Washington against Arizona because that was a closer game. But still, I specifically picked, hey, here's 3 teams I'm going to bet against and parlay them. And I won that. Now, this week 2, here's my theory. You can tell me whether, and if you hate it, you can say, Mark, you're an idiot. I hate it. But week 2 is you bet on the teams that you don't think are going to go 0-2. So the Chiefs are a good bet this week. The Bills are a good bet this week. The Bengals are a good bet this week. I mean, all the teams that you don't think are going to lose 2 in a row. And there's a group of them. Because like I said, Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, this is your 3 of your favorites to win the AFC, and they all lost. So that's how I approach week 2. So yes, I have the Bengals down as one of my picks that I love as well, because I don't think we go 0-2. So
I think it's a little bit more non-black and white than just saying, oh, they're not going to go 0-2, so I'm going to bet on them. But I do like the Chiefs this week for similar reasons.
And the Bills against the Raiders. Are you taking?
I'm not touching.
Okay,
the Bills.
so
I'm
the
not
3
touching
games
the
I
Bills.
pick, like I said, you don't have to pick every game here. That's the thing about gambling. You get to pick and choose what's a parlay. Those are 3 money lines I like. I like a lot. So like I said, you can work with them or tease them. Like I said, I know you don't do teasers. I do. I think the analysts for the casinos, Vegas, are very good at what they do. Okay, I can't tell you how many, especially on NBA, how many second half over unders I've bet where I've literally won or lost by 0.5 point. They're that good because they're whatever their AI is and whatever they're doing. So you have to play with the lines. That's just my feeling. So, but it's just like the stock market. You can win in lots of different ways. You just have to understand what it is you're doing. And if you do not win, remember they call it gambling, not easy. If it was easy, they call it easy. It's gambling. So it's not easy. And, but so we agree on those 3 and we both like the Bengals. All right. So
what 3? No, I'm not touching the Bills.
You're not touching the Bills over the Raiders?
No,
I am. I think Josh Allen rebounds.
Well, okay. I mean, if you lay minus 350, then fine. Like, yeah, I think they win the game. But if you're talking about,
I just told you, you can do a teaser and you can have the Bills.
I wouldn't touch that. I wouldn't do that.
You can have the Bills -1. You can have the Chiefs minus, I think it's 2, and you can have the Bengals plus 3.5. So you do like a 5-team teaser.
What spreads are you looking at? The Bills are a 10-point favorite.
Right. And you get them down. No, I just got the Bills at -1. So the line moved. -1 or -2. Because I buy the extra point. So it's 7, not 6. I always buy the extra point. So, but there's goodness. 3. Like I said, we gamble differently, but we make money. There's many paths up the mountain. I don't bash your way. We all have our different paths that we're comfortable with. But right there, start a 7-team teaser, leave 4 open, and put those 3 down, and fill the rest in next week. You don't have to close.
Oh my goodness!
Spike the ball this week. I love open plays. That's what changed everything for me gambling wise. Is not having to pick everything right away.
I will. I like doing the only parlays that I do underdog parlays. This week I like the Hawks outright, and then the Pats outright. You can get that probably.
I like the Pats. You know what? I like the Pats too, because I thought they looked very good against Philly. They surprisingly good.
They looked very good.
They bail back to this and so I actually, they're one of kind of my sleeper ones under the radar, but I actually like the Patriots too. Okay, so tell me what you want to do your prediction first, or you want me to do mine?
I'll do mine first. I went mine last week, and I'm 1-0. By the way, Seahawks +6 over the Lions, win them outright.
Okay, Hawks, there you go.
Pats money line
even
dog
with
parlay.
Even what you think the emotional letdown, even with the extra time to prepare.
I'm gonna bet against the Lions every chance I get. Like them laying at 7 points at home. I will take that every time.
The Seahawks cost me a 10-team teaser. They were the only loss. They were up at half. And I went ahead and I didn't hedge because I said, oh, it's 13-7. They'll finish up. And they just laid an egg in the second half. And it was the only game I missed last week of my teams I was betting against. The Rams were one of them. That was the only one that I didn't bring home.
If you would have listened to the Jake Circus podcast, you would have had Rams +4.5.
So I still would never have bought into that because I don't believe, even though I have Cam Akers on my fantasy team, I'm not a believer. I'm not a believer in the Rams.
Matthew Stafford looked pretty good, huh?
Well, let's see how he looks against the Niners this week.
I
Okay.
agree.
Okay. And
But
then we'll
I will
start, then
say
we can start talking about the resurgence of the
I'm not saying anything about a Matthew Stafford resurgence, but he looked he was moving. I haven't seen Matthew Stafford move that good in 2 years.
All right,
But
well,
I'll say one more thing because you come on here a lot. You like to tell me which team costed you your parlay. It's kind of funny. If you do a 7-team parlay, there's 7 chances for a team to fuck you.
well, I had 5 of them home already, so it really was only 5 filled in on, and I won all of them except the Seahawks. So it was really only 5 because I had actually started the teaser back in preseason, and I had 3 overs from preseason that had all hit because they were in the 20s. So
they got boat race. But if you want to listen to the Jake Circus podcast,
once again, I told you, all right. So
Rams
before you give
+4.5.
your prediction, remind everybody where they can find your stuff, and then we'll give them the prediction.
Yeah, JSP, Jake Circus podcast, Spotify and YouTube, 3 pods a week. We do an NFL show on Monday morning, a college football show on Wednesday, and then a gambling show on Friday. Love the college football card this week. It's an awful slate, but I'll give you this, Mark. Florida +6.5. I was 1 year old the last time the Tennessee Vols went to the swamp and won a game outright. I'm telling you right now, Joe Milton is not the guy to break that streak. Florida wins outright. Give me a full touchdown in the swamp with the chomp Gators.
Chomp Gators. All right. I'm going to join you on that one. So I actually have a couple opens on a teaser I'm running. So I'll take the Florida +13. So.
All right.
Right. So, all right, go ahead. Let's hear your prediction.
Big Bengals win here. I'm predicting a blowout. I think this will be a bad Lamar game. 31-17 Cincinnati.
Okay.
And it's gonna be, and I think it's gonna be a bigger blowout than that. Like it'll be like one of those games where the box score tells the truth and the final score lies.
Okay. I actually have us winning handily as well, but I didn't have us at 31. I had us at 26-13 is what I came up with. And I still think their defense is good enough. We're going to get and I always shoe in Baltimore for a few field goals because of Justin Tucker. So, because you only have to get to like the 40-yard line and he's there. So, they trot him out, no problem. They get to the 40 and they already know, okay, we got a field goal opportunity. So
there you go.
But I don't have it as high scoring, but I do think I got more stalled drives. I think the Bengals are still going to be working on the timing because Burrow, it's no preseason. Do you think next year we actually roll Burrow out to maybe play a little in the preseason? No?
Maybe a drive. Maybe he can get a drive.
All right, well.
Get some game day picks.
Who would have thought that Aaron Rodgers would play more games in the preseason this year than he played in the regular season? What would that line have been? Think about it. He played like 2 full series for the Jets, right? In the preseason of the final game, played 4 plays.
Yeah, he threw a touchdown.
Yeah, so go figure it. But I don't know. I'm not liking this having a mulligan game week 1. Just thinking, oh yeah, it counts against us. It's 0-1. I mean, the whole league's gone to 3 preseason games. We're going to go to 4. And we're just going to use week 1 as our 4th preseason game. I don't know. I just would like to maybe see that change a little, but then Burrow gets hurt and everybody's yelling that we shouldn't have had him out there. So I don't know. Where do you find the balance? But all right. Well, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. It's all we ask. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. So we helps us with the YouTube analytics, and you will be here. You said for the recap this week. You think?
Yes, I will be there for the recap. Yes.
Awesome. So we could have a full house. I don't know if your dad's going to be here, but definitely we'll have Heath. So, maybe there'll be 4 of us celebrating the win. We can blow the victory horn for the first time this year. Didn't even have to bring it out unfortunately, last Sunday, but it's ready to go if we do. And then we'll even do the Mighty Ducks quacker too. I don't know. You haven't done a recap with us. You don't know the whole ritual, but we have to give our viewers what we usually give them. So
there you go.
Please do. We will be on right after the game ends with our recap. So subscribe. Who to everybody? Enjoy the game tonight. You like the Eagles tonight? Minnesota?
I have no play.
You have no play on it. Okay. You could tease that one. Eagles even. No, he's nodding his head. All right. We will see you right after the game. Hopefully we're 1-1. That's what we're thinking we're going to be. And I'm going to say, hoot, everybody. Take care.